The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
What up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk off-season edition. Yeah, I guess we can call it off-season edition. Screw it. All right, presented by Invisalign. Nicole Hutchison here alongside Aisha Morrison and Jess Navarez. How y'all doing, ladies?
We here.
Good.
Trying to
Wake up! Thank you, Jazz. Right on time.
I was about to say I'm a little sleepy. But
We good. We getting ready for the storm to come in.
Literally.
Bundle up.
Absolutely.
I'm just not made for this kind of weather, so when it's cold, I just hate it. Every second of it, actually.
I know one thing we also hate, the fact that the season's over so soon.
Also hate that.
Let's talk about it real fast. We can keep it short and sweet in the first segment because we do have to talk about it. The Washington Commanders came here in AT&T Stadium and left with a win. So the Cowboys split the season, split the matchup head-to-head series this year, 1-1. The Commanders take the win, 23-19 on Sunday. Thoughts about the game? I'll start with you, Jess.
Yeah, I mean it was probably the most entertaining game of the day that day. That's for dang sure. Literally coming down to the last few seconds there. Going into that game, I was interested to see a few things specifically with the younger guys and get some questions answered that we all had and surrounding Trey Lance specifically. So I'm glad we have more of a sample size to base off of, the kind of quarterback he is and where improvement still lies. But overall, I mean, the guys didn't stop fighting. So I will say that. The guys were still showing some fight, so wish it would have been a win to cap off the season, but it is what it is. The season couldn't have ended soon enough. I just wanted everybody to get out of there healthy, go into the off season and start working for next year, really.
I second that, sister.
Take some time off first, though. Take some time off. Enjoy their personal life with their families who don't get to see them all year, and then get to work.
Yeah, I mean, in regard to the game, I thought that Dallas came out. They were aggressive. We saw some good things early, and then in the second half of the game, which we've seen with them, is that they weren't able to continue that offensively, and Washington was able to figure out some things offensively. The Cowboys' defensive line gave them fits. 6 sacks on the day. I mean, Micah Parsons had 2 in the first couple possessions, so that just lets you know it was probably going to be a long day, but Washington made adjustments.
Yeah.
And after making those adjustments, Dallas took away Terry McLaurin for a whole half, and then they came out in the second half. Cliff Kingsbury does what a good offensive coordinator did and found favorable matchups. So they just kind of chipped away at the Cowboys, and then towards the end you saw it just break, and that's just a good ball. It's just a great ball by Jaden Daniels, a really good catch by Terry McLaurin, and you just can't play it any better. So for me, you look at the things that happened, the penalties and stuff like that put them in position. It's just very, very representative of kind of what the season has been. Almost there. Almost there.
Not quite there.
The mistakes costly in the end, but I mean, it's just them shooting themselves in the foot. And let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there because I know y'all probably looking at me crazy on this podcast. Yes, went to the dentist this morning. We're not going to talk about it. So
You were doing so good.
I was doing so good, but it just felt weird. I'm talking weird, so
it don't look. It feels weird, but it doesn't look weird.
Thank goodness. Okay, well, I just have to feel like I had to put that disclaimer out there. But anyway.
She's a trooper.
It's giving the joke. It's giving the Joker.
Not
Why are you like this?
The Joker.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't even do my smirk, y'all.
Why so serious?
Y'all are so mean. Oh my God.
I'm joking.
Is that how I sounded?
No.
You don't look crazy at all. We just mess with you.
I was trying to do my smirk and I couldn't do it.
I'm just
Look,
try it one more time.
No, don't hurt yourself.
What are you trying to do?
Try
Her
it.
little
It's not
smirk.
working.
Let me
It's
see.
not
Let me see.
working.
Come on.
Do it again.
One more time.
Not your eyes
I
watering.
like
It's
your
not
little
working.
smirk. I
Your
like
eyes
It's
are
not
watering
working.
because you're trying.
Because I
so-
can't do it, and it's irritating me.
You
All
can
right.
do it. You can do it.
Back on track. Sorry, just had to put that out there.
all in this.
I think it's more so just like the theme of the season, and we've talked about it so many times, is that the mistakes backfire on them every single time, whether it's in third quarter, final seconds as it did against Washington. But I liked the way that Trey Lance had a command of the offense.
Yeah.
That was something that I wanted to see in a regular season game. We saw it in the preseason where he was obviously still trying to – there was some nervousness preseason, but I feel like he was confident. And I think I mentioned it last week on the podcast, was that the guys were starting to instill that confidence in him, making sure that his mental was right going in. So I feel like he was good mentally. It was just them shooting themselves in the freaking foot every single time.
Well, and when you put your quarterback behind the sticks constantly, it just makes it 10 times harder to come back, especially a quarterback who hadn't played a regular season game in, 480 days?
840.
Oh, see,
Regular season, 840.
840,
It's
even
crazy.
more. But, see, I'm clearly tired
Yeah,
today.
no, it's okay.
But, what I really enjoyed was seeing his connection with the younger receivers that I feel like he's been getting a lot of work in those practice reps that we always talk about that are so limited. And really numbers-wise, it's maybe like 8 reps per practice, if not per week, that your third-string quarterback is getting. And so it's been valuable for him to see Cooper Rush kind of move up into that one spot and get even more of those reps. And you can kind of see that because not only did he have the connection with the younger guys like Jonathan Mingo, but you saw that really with Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Hunter Lipke, Rico Dowdle. He was definitely showing that confidence. And to be fair, everybody was his receivers, his backs were showing confidence within him as well as the quarterback, and you could see that. I will say something I did notice was the footwork was a little sloppy. I was just being very nitpicky, again, because we're there to evaluate the kind of job he did. But those quick, short passes, I mean, he was going one read and passing it down and just short passes. It was working. But I really hope now the conversation of Trey Lance not being a viable backup in this league can kind of start to silence. I'd like to see more of him. I don't know if that'll be here or somewhere else, but I do think what he showed was good to get on tape to be a viable backup in the NFL.
Let me ask y'all something. Do y'all feel like if Trey Lance would have started a couple of games prior to Week 18, that he would have showed something better than Cooper Rush?
Yes.
Would he have been the better option?
Yes. I mean, with respect, I appreciate what Cooper Rush does for you as an offense. He is 100% the epitome of, and I know it gets a negative connotation, but it's not a bad thing. He's a game manager. He is going to he's going to run that offense. He's not going to do a lot of improvising. He's going to be on script. He's going to be on cue, and he's going to move the offense along. Trey Lance is somebody that when defenses look at him, they have to account for multiple things he can do. Now, to Jess's point, I thought that the game plan favored him. They did a lot of things to cut the field in half, and what I mean by that is like rollouts, boots, waggles, things where he's on the move because he does that well. He still is developing pocket presence, touch, because there were a couple of times there were some missed opportunities in that game in the red zone where he's missing guys or he's just putting too much on it, and it's hard. It's difficult as a guy that has the arm talent that he has to gain control of the weapon that he has, because the arm is just a cannon, right? So the things that I would hope he would continue to work on is going through his progressions, like we talked about, like you talked about, Jess. And also, too, just delivering the ball more accurately. And that, to your point, Nicole, takes time, and it takes repetition. It takes chemistry with the receivers he's playing with as well. But I do think, we got to see that he can get better from practice. And if he can get better from practice, he should be able to get better from playing actual reps.
Yeah.
And so for me, I walked away from it saying, this guy can be your backup next year. There's no reason why he can't be your backup next year. I mean, if they choose to bring him out, that's all up to them. What I'm saying is that if he continues to grow and he continues to get you talk about training camp. If he's not splitting reps with Cooper Rush, what type of player are we going to start seeing? And he can do a lot of things that excite you. But also, too, one thing I noticed was how I felt like they looked faster. And what I mean by that is him getting people the ball on the move, getting Jalen Tolbert the ball on the move. The ball's not late. The ball's on time so guys can get run after catch opportunities. I think that's some of what we got to see with him that we haven't gotten to see with Cooper Rush as much.
So there was something. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. I just wanted to say, like, to answer your question of would he be the more viable option, I think it depends on what kind of offense you wanted to run all season.
Coach gonna be right,
like because here's the thing too. This is such a domino effect of a question, because the way I see it is, yes, he can be a viable backup with more practice, more work, more game time reps. Preseason would be nice to see more of, but it's also going to depend on how Dak comes back from this injury. If he's going to be mobile still, if he's going to be a little more immobile, more of a pocket quarterback. Because if you're going to run this offense with Trey Lance, you want him to use his mobility. You want him to use his legs. And truly, your backup quarterback has to replicate the game plan a little more watered down than what your starting quarterback is doing. I don't want it to have to limit Trey to using his legs less because of the game plan that would favor Dak. Now, Cooper Rush is obviously, I think, the more conservative, pocket quarterback that you don't necessarily have to plan any kind of mobility with. And truly, like, we don't know what this surgery will do for Dak going forward. So I think it depends on the coach's vision of what this offense is going to be, how much you want a mobile quarterback, but also I think what they really wanted to emphasize, and Trey could have done it as well, was the run game, specifically with Rico and amping that up. So I think if Trey was in, you might have seen a little less of that, a little bit more with him being mobile. But it's just such a tangled web of we don't knows and to be determines, because how Cooper Rush and I have talked about the backup quarterback position is your backup quarterback has to emulate what your starting quarterback does in a little bit of a watered down position, so that way it's not so much of a change and you can change it on the dime when needed. Trey Lance, I just feel like if he wants to be a mobile quarterback, this might not be the system based on your veteran quarterback coming back from an injury like he did, to have to cap his mobility and his potential in that aspect of his game.
If Dak is capping his mobility, he's doing a disservice to his game.
Right.
And I really hope that he takes the time to improve his flexibility, improve, some of those things, because he's always been kind of a stiff player. I mean, just being honest, his lower half has just always been kind of stiff, and that's why you see him really focus on his hips, open up his hips. We seen the Dak dance a few years ago. That is for him to open up his hips because they're tight.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a part of him. He's very strong, not very flexible. I'm hoping that he takes the time in the offseason I'm really curious to see how he retools and rebuilds his body, because his mobility is so important to what he does. Yeah. And, I mean, on the flip side of things, when you look at Marcus Mariota, what he did to you in that game,
disrespectful.
What he did to
it
you.
Was really, it was honestly the Cowboys making them look.
Well, and I think that they were on their heels, because you game plan for Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely.
You didn't game plan for Marcus Mariota and come out there and start doing all that running around like a little rabbit.
Literally,
he was just hopping around. But I'm just saying, let me not. Hey, y'all go do yourselves a favor and go look at Marcus Mariota playing with the Falcons last year and tell me that Trey Lance can't do that. I'm just being straight up with you. So for me, I agree with you that it does need to be some synergy and like how you do things. But I am like, Dak needs to be mobile. Maybe not as mobile as Trey Lance, because he's not the athlete.
He's also a young buck. You know what I mean?
He's not the athlete. I'm not saying that Dak needs to just run all the time, but the RPO run action game, it's what has made him who he is.
Yeah. Well, Dallas had success when he was using his mobility last year. I want to go back to Trey Lance, though, because something that I also noticed was that where I didn't see it with Cooper Rush was that if, for example, he threw a ball to Brandon Cooks, I believe Cooks had dropped it, but he still went back to him. And there was multiple plays where you still saw that still trying to continue that trust or show that there was still trust between the quarterback and the receiver. And I think that's why Jalen Tolbert had his best game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do y'all think Jalen Tolbert had his best game this season?
Yeah, but also,
Yeah.
but he's just great in scramble drill. Like, one thing about Jalen Tolbert that I like about him, and I'm sure Dak appreciates about him, is that when plays break down, he has made plays in scramble drill, and quarterbacks love that.
Yep.
They love the guy that's going to keep working for them, keep coming back to the ball, and I think that that's something that Jalen Tolbert does well. It helped out Trey Lance when he was scrambling a couple times in this game, and obviously they were able to get some explosive and positive plays from that.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, 98 yards, that's great. That's great to see from JT. But also, I feel like it was a product of his progression within the last month of, you know, him kind of, I don't want to say he was down on himself. I haven't had a conversation with him as of recent. But there was a moment there where you kind of saw the confidence being shaken within the game time reps. And within this last month, I feel like he has been a solid quarterback-friendly player, obviously being impactful in the red zone and being a good red zone target for both Cooper Rush and, well, Trey Lance was trying. But, you know, it's at the end of the day, like, I just feel like JT's progression will just get better and better, and he has the work ethic to make him more coachable. I just wish, you know, and this doesn't even just go for JT, but the development of these younger receivers, tight ends, backs were a little bit more further along than where they are right now.
Were y'all happy to see Deuce Vaughn get some action?
I was ecstatic and pissed off.
Yeah, it took
Why
so
pissed
long.
off and why
Because
ecstatic?
Because why?
Yeah.
You don't have, like, this team does not, the offense doesn't have, like, juice, speed.
Yeah.
That's why when you see Turpin, it feels different.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the difference, and when he hits the hole, when they're using him out the backfield or giving him direct snaps and stuff, it just feels different. And Deuce Vaughn, like, the way that he just hits the hole when he sees it,
And he was patient, too.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating, to say the least, even with Hunter Lipke, even getting to see Hunter Lipke, who is a running back. I understand he does fullback things. He is a running back. The fact that, like, this stuff wasn't happening through the season is baffling to me.
Yeah.
And I understand they had to account because of injuries in the cornerback room, and that's played into inactives and stuff. But this running back room could have been so much more versatile. It could have been so much more difficult to plan for. And seeing them run the ball, and their offensive line's gotten better. But seeing them run the ball, I was happy. It ticked me off.
Yeah. To me, I'm like,
sorry.
oh, exciting, but why did it take so long to see this?
Yeah.
Because to me, yes, technically your playoff chances ended, 2 weeks ago? Very technically. That's 2 more weeks he could have gotten reps if you felt like you were trying to play to win at that point, and yes, just make Rico your bell cow, I think is what they called him.
Yeah.
But I also don't get it, because Cooper Rush is an experienced enough veteran backup quarterback that can handle those kind of packages.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it's so frustrating too, because it makes you think, would you even have seen that if Dak was still healthy and in? I don't know. But it's, again, underutilizing this talent that you have on the roster that might not be, like, why not at that point? And especially throughout the game, yes, I wanted to see more Rico, but also, why not put Deuce in interchangeably with Rico during this game? And to your point about Hunter Lipke, I literally tweeted Hunter Lipke sighting because it just felt like too damn long since we had seen any kind of package specifically for this versatile player. And he's a guy that at the beginning of the season, during training camp even, we were all talking about seeing him get work in, and where was all that? Like, I understand your quarterback got injured, but I just feel like Cooper Rush has enough experience as a quarterback to implement those things into his game. And so I'm not sure the play calling was really in their favor.
The way I didn't realize that Hunter Lipke only had 12 carries this year for 38 yards.
Crazy.
He's been an extension of your offensive line, and that's it. And that's just, like, there's just no reason for it. There's no reason why we couldn't have more opportunities. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get Rico kind of started late, quote unquote, in a way of being the starter. But what makes other teams good is that they have the committee. And the committee, again, is for rest and all that stuff, but it's also to change the picture. It's also to change what the defense has to do to defend you. Because I'm telling you can see it on film. Like, they didn't even know when Deuce was, like, escaping, like when he was finishing runs, because you can't see him sometimes. And I'm just like, so
Didn't it make you laugh on the broadcast when you were
did.
hearing I think it was Mark Sanchez talk about him? And it was like, oh yeah, his size, and I was like, boy, we're so past that conversation. Like,
Yeah, we saw him do some things
you can utilize it to your advantage.
Absolutely.
To your point.
Yeah, we saw him do some things in pass pro as well. You know, something that people have, ridiculed him about. He sacrificed his body multiple times in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, next season.
All right. Well, we're gonna put the whole game to bed, right? And then we're gonna
Good night.
take our first break. After the break, we're gonna touch on Mike McCarthy. There's obviously some talk about the Chicago Bears showing some interest. We will see how that unfolds. All right, we're gonna take our first break here on Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes, and next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Nation, Amanda Foster has been named your 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan for her dedication to the team and spicing up the game. Vote for Amanda to be named the ultimate NFL Fan of the Year at NFL.com/Fan of the Year. Go right now. Go vote for our girl, Amanda.
Vote for our girl, Amanda.
For Amanda.
Y'all remember that? I feel like I said this. Amanda. Amanda, please.
Bring out the lobsters. Bring out the dancing lobsters.
It's a great show. All right. Adam Schefter, shout out to him. Always
first on it
with the insights
and the really good comebacks sometimes.
Absolutely,
those disses. I'm like, oh,
absolutely
fun.
He tweeted out that one day after the Chicago Bears, obviously they sought out permission to interview Cowboys head coach. Well, that contract comes to an end soon, but current head coach still, Mike McCarthy, to interview him still one day after that, so today. They still have not heard a response, but again, I think that we should note that we do not know any updates on whether or not McCarthy's agent is negotiating with the front office currently. We don't know anything. This is just the tweets that we see, so we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Just let me ask you something. Mike McCarthy, back for another year. If he's not back, what other coach out there do you feel y'all have confidence in coming in and, let's say, establishing the same type of culture here? Is there anybody that y'all see?
Dan Quinn. No, I'm not. That was a joke. I'm. That little kid that's like with the microphone, he's like and starts crying. That's me when I talk about this. No. If you're talking about this exact culture,
Yeah.
probably not. Anybody I can think of at least that comes to mind. If you wanted that culture to kind of continue in a way, you'd have to bring somebody up that's already on staff, promote them. Other than that, it would be a clean slate, I feel, with the options out there that are available.
Yeah, I think the first person that comes to mind is Mike Vrabel. Just the older school energy. Like, I think he would get jiggy.
Like McCarthy?
Not like McCarthy, but they might like him because of how he is, how he coaches. And I honestly, I don't have an idea of whoever it is.
Bless them.
Whoever it is going to have to encapsulate this locker room in a way that hasn't been done yet because they haven't won a championship. I just think it's going to be it's difficult because whoever comes in here has to really set the tone for it's us against the world. There's this team, we talk about how different this team than any other team.
Yeah.
So the way that they prepare, the way they do things, it may not look like any other team. Like, they might have to go harder. They may not get the same breaks because it's just not the way that the media talks about them. They're always in the fire. It's never enough. Like, they would have to reshape. But another thing too, you talk about the penalties. Respectfully, like, this team has literally almost led the NFL in penalties since Mike McCarthy has been the coach. Who comes in and fix that discipline? Because it also in Jason Garrett, they were one of the highest penalized. Like, I can't picture what coach comes in and fixes that, like, those type of issues that you've been dealing with for multiple years.
You also think, do you want a quick fix or do you want a long-term fix? And then that also goes into your quarterback getting older, or some of your veteran players possibly not being on the roster because you have 22 free agents to worry about. There's so many unknowns right now that I feel like the first domino that needs to fall is figuring out who your head coach is.
Please.
And then you can figure out the rest of it. Because if you really are cleaning everything, cleaning house, that a lot goes into that.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, I feel like, especially for this locker room, like you've said, that have created their own world and this is us against the world, they need time to mentally prepare for that, get on the same page with a new staff if that's what happens, and communicate and really build that relationship sooner rather than later, I guess. So for me, everything is in standstill until the decision is made. Because you cannot do anything else other than that. Because even requiring free agents and going even through that and deciding who gets to stay and who potentially doesn't, you can't do that until you know what your system looks like under said head coach.
Yeah, you look around the NFL, I mean, coaches have already lost their jobs. You talk about the Jaguars, they fired their head coach. The Patriots have fired their head coach. New Orleans Saints have fired their head coach. Yeah, the list just goes on and on and on.
And that's the thing that's stressing me is, again, like you said, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
However, those coaches, the coaches that you might want, the good ones, the Ben Johns, like these guys, they're interviewing right now.
Yeah.
And you can't interview.
Yep.
And we kind of ran into something like this last year, if I'm not mistaken, is that Dan Quinn was interviewing. We 100% knew that Dan Quinn was probably on his way out. It was time. He came here to rejuvenate his career. He did that.
Yep.
He got the whole head coaching job in Washington. Dallas ran into a very similar thing to where, and I liked what Zimmer did here. It worked out, but it ain't no different than it's like first come, first serve.
Yeah.
Like, you're not interviewing the other coaches right now because you haven't made a decision on this coach. So you're stifling his progress. Well, the progress is stalled right now. I'll say that. His progress isn't happening, but you also can't progress until you find out who's going to be the head coach. So it's just not. It's not a good way to do things because I'm telling you, we're going to be looking at draft, combine, and all that stuff, and then it's going to be free agency before we know it. Who's going to be the head coach to start planning out what things are going to look like? And then the players on the team, the assistant coaches, these guys also deserve to know what their lives are going to look like or if they're going to have to start preparing for a new scheme.
Well, and I would imagine even like Dak coming back from this injury, who can't physically do a lot, and it takes, milestone by milestone to come back. All you really have is your playbook and your system to sit there and study and mentally prepare yourself. What does he have to study right now? Because what if it does not look the same? So for me too, if you want your quarterback to come in prepared post-injury, you need to give him his material, his book, his binder, if you will, of whatever the system's going to look like and what it requires out of him.
Let me ask y'all something. Y'all think Al Harris, let's say Mike Zimmer decides that let's say the front office decides not to keep Mike Zimmer, or Mike Zimmer decides not to stay here to continue coaching as the defensive coordinator. Do y'all think it's time for Al Harris to be the DC?
It takes a lot to be a DC. I don't know. I think the world of Al Harris.
Yeah.
So I want to be very careful.
Absolutely.
But I do understand that being a DC is very intricate, and I don't know if he even feels like he's ready to take that on. It is a lot of responsibility. It's a lot to do.
Yeah.
They moved him into the assistant head coach position this year, which was dope. But I have no idea because we have not seen him in a coordinator capacity. Now, I will say the NFL's doing this thing where they're taking chances on coaches now. Yeah. A lot of former players are becoming coaches, and you're seeing success in different places. So for me, maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. No idea, but it's an option, I suppose, if you want to keep staying house. What about you, Jess?
I mean, yeah, like if you wanted to progress somebody up, it is time. And Al Harris obviously is so respected in that locker room and by his DB room, and his energy is very infectious. But what gets me is you look at a guy like Demo specifically, and I'm thinking of your third-year players. That's 3 different systems every year you have been here.
Talk about it.
And if you want growth and development within your players, that year 3 jump it's still important, because you're talking future contracts coming up, long-term deals in the works and in the talks. You're stifling that growth by continuously making these players learn new systems every single year. And that would be 3 years in a row, especially that rookie class that came in 3 years ago, that would have to relearn another new system this year. And to be honest, I was really intrigued with what Mike Zimmer had said of, if I could go back and change it, I would do things my way. I feel like if he comes back, whether that be because he's offered the job back or because it's on his own terms, whatever the case is, it's only going to be better because of the lessons he did learn of what not to do. And also, to the other point of that, you have Micah Parsons on this system that clearly he enjoys doing. I saw Demo tweet that he wanted Zim to stay. So for me, it's what do your players feel like they're going to get out of this and how they're going to grow. So if they had faith that Al Harris, say Zim didn't return for whatever reason, that Al Harris was your guy, if the players have faith that that could be the elevation for them and their growth, sure. If Al Harris feels like he's ready to do it, sure. No matter who it is. But my thing is, man, you have to build some kind of future here. You have to build some kind of long-term future that tells you, I'm here to stay. You don't have to worry about my job being on the line next year, because all it does is just create this anxiety that's already added to this 30-year anniversary, no Super Bowl championship. Well, yeah, you have a new coach every season.
Thank you. That is
what do you want? How can you build a Super Bowl winning program if you're just DC after DC after DC? And yes, it was Dan's time to go, but I just want some stability.
I agree,
and I'm sure the guys do too.
And if you're and here's the
Sorry,
thing.
I soapboxed a little.
No, that's
valid.
valid.
No, I got you.
We're locked in.
And here's my thing: is if you gonna do what you're doing right now, if you're gonna be trying to figure out coordinators or whatever, at least have the talent to make up for that, to make up for changing out, because that's what them brown. Oh my Lord,
Ooh, over here like,
we're on a soapbox now,
I'm
guys.
just saying, that's what them green folks up east is doing. That's what they doing. Like, they brought in Vic Fangio, they brought in Kellen Moore, and guess what? It's hit, but it's hit because they have the talent.
Well, and look how quickly other teams want Kellen as a head coach. Shocking.
Have mercy. Like, if you're gonna do it,
you give stability and crazy things happen.
Well, you've heard from your players. They've spoken about how much they love Zimmer. They love his scheme. Jordan Lewis was very vocal about that in post game. So I think that there's no doubt about the fact that they love what he brought here.
Yeah, but his comments last week sound like he need a nap.
We're not.
And I understand.
Not I need a nap.
No, I understand.
Don't we all need a nap?
Well, first of all, I totally forgot, and this is something, again, like we're talking about the coaching situation in their lives. I forgot, selfishly, my bad, that Mike Zimmer lost his son.
Yeah.
And, I mean, come on. And he you know, last week he was saying in his presser, you could tell how emotional he was, that he really felt like he wanted to honor his son, come out and do this. But they also enjoyed to live their, they also, yes, they.
He just got engaged too.
This is stressful. Yes, he did. This is stressful. This is a stressful occupation. So I also am saying.
Bye.
As much as
I'm happy for him.
Same.
Like,
get this camera off of me,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
I can't do it. I can't even look at you because your mouth.
Sorry.
No, but she's in tears.
My Shayla.
My Shayla.
Why are y'all like this?
I don't know. Aisha made a face.
Stop looking at me.
Oh, Nugget. Okay, but
It's all
no,
right.
seriously.
Anyways.
Seriously. Whatever he decides, I'm going to be happy for him. If he wants to come back here, I believe that Mike Zimmer's system is relevant to what the NFL is today. He can do things. Hopefully the secondary is not completely decimated. Lord have mercy. But the way he disguises on the back end, he prioritizes stopping the run. He's exotic with his fronts. He does so many different looks. He puts a lot of stress on defenses.
I like that.
Puts a lot of stress on offenses. I think what he does as a coordinator is relevant to today's NFL. Get him the players if he wants to stay here.
Or get somebody with a similar.
Yeah, or get someone with a similar mindset. So to Jess's point, which is a fantastic point, that your players are not having to learn a whole new system again, because you're going to be going through another install again.
God, and I can't stop thinking about Demo in this specific instance, because you're talking year 3 for him. He came off of a season-ending injury, learned a new system, looked phenomenal this season. Absolutely. Now another season-ending injury that, reports were saying he would be back by sooner rather than later. And I can say I did talk to him over the weekend because I hosted an event and he was there, and this man, in his brace and everything, still wanted to talk to these fans. And all the fans were like, "We need you back next year, man." He's like, "I'll be there." Don't like he was so reassuring for them. And so for him, all we talked about was, the little milestones he has to take right now in his rehab. And, it's little things you don't think of. Drive a car, walk a certain amount of steps, things like that. And he is very positive and driven. Just like Demo looks in his football game, he looks in his recovery and rehab game ready to attack it. So I do believe him when he says he'll be back sooner rather than later. But to that point, I just can't stop thinking of Demo having to learn another system. I mean, all these guys, your second and third year players specifically are the impacted ones in this.
They just nuggets. They want to. Lord have mercy.
Anyways,
we're gonna take our second break and be right back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We're gonna play some over under after the break.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy Calvin. This stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobblers, pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The biggest names in tennis head to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco this February. Witness, and no, it is not true Nicole Hutchison, but could be. Witness top-ranked Casper Ruud and former Dallas Open champion American Tony Paul dazzled the court as the Dallas Open moves to a new home. Catch all the hard-hitting action and watch the top players on tour compete live. Tickets are available now at SeatGeek.com.
I will be there front and center.
I'm sure
I
you
couldn't
will.
even let you finish.
Girl, I know. We knew that already, though.
Yeah.
Are you going to go out there and play?
Absolutely not.
I think
I
you
ain't
could.
picked up a racket in years.
I think you could hang.
I think I could.
I think you could do it.
High key.
I believe in you.
Y'all,
I believe in myself.
people don't be understanding how serious tennis is. It is no joke.
No, it's serious. It's so serious.
Nicole does. She does for
Absolutely.
everyone who doesn't.
I used to coach in my free time. It was
That's
fun.
crazy.
All
I
right.
feel like you'd be a good coach.
Thanks, girl.
I do.
I appreciate it.
I feel like you would.
All right. We're going to play a little over-under.
Let's go.
Who over exceeded the expectations or under exceeded your expectations
Okay.
this year?
Okay.
Brandon Cooks.
Under.
Why?
Injury.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Under
Alright.
injury. Yep.
Straight like that. Brock Hoffman.
Over.
Over.
Okay.
Over.
I feel like the confidence and the chirpiness. It was nice to see.
He's
It
a
was.
tone setter. He's a tone
Yeah.
setter too for your interior.
Yeah.
Baby, let me tell you something. The way Jonathan Allen ain't gonna want to deal with him.
Yeah.
Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen
Yeah,
are
at
not
all.
gonna want to deal with him for more seasons because he's our Draymond Green.
Yep.
He is.
You need
Oh, that's
one.
a good one.
You need one.
He's our Draymond Green.
Well, and
good
also
correlation.
too, like, I just feel like watching him play now. It was such a close tie between him and Cooper Rush Cooper Rush. Oh my God,
BB?
Cooper
Sorry,
BB.
I got what you were
My
saying.
bad for the starting center position, but I do feel like there could be possibility for both of them to be in that line. Hopefully next year. So
It's a good thing.
Jalen Tolbert.
over. I mean, I expected. I knew, but I feel like there was drop off when it was Cooper Rush coming in
Which
and
is
adjustments.
normal.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the last month it was back to the same old growth. So I'm going to say that's what I expected from him this season. I didn't expect anything more, anything less, because overall I feel like the offense was still figuring itself out and
Yeah.
didn't really give him his best shot.
Consistent chance.
Yeah.
I said over, and that's exactly why. Just because you saw him play well with Dak, Cooper Rush, you didn't see him do so well, and then you saw obviously with Trey Lance having his best game of the year.
Hard for me. I would say, is there like a
The middle.
tater tots?
Go ahead, be devil's
Even
advocate.
if it's like
be devil's
literally
advocate.
like one little point under, it's fine.
Yeah.
I guess I would say I'm gonna say under, and I'm gonna be fair because I'm a tough critic when it comes to Jalen Tolbert probably, but I'm gonna say under because I really expected for him, especially with Brandon Cooks being out, to really take charge of that wide receiver 2 spot.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, to your point, there's been drop off, and some guys like Jay Ferguson has really got the short end of the stick with Dak being out. Some guys need their quarterback. I know that CD's that one guy that
don't
can just
matter.
play with anybody. Some guys can't.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen Tolbert, to your point, took some time to adjust to Cooper Rush, how Cooper Rush delivers the ball. But you see the difference in how he looks when Trey Lance is throwing him the ball on the move. You know, so for me, I think I expected him to really take that role and to be certain about that. So I'm going to say under, even though I do like the improvements he has made this year. I just expected a little more.
Okay.
All right, last one. Chauncey Golston.
Oh,
Over.
my dude, my Hawkeye.
Yeah, I had to.
Yes.
Over.
Over.
And
Somewhere
I barely want to say over.
There's
I think it's only over because you had so many injuries and you weren't expecting him to get this much playing time.
But before
Yeah.
training camp, when I saw that Zimmer was coming in, I said, I was praying. I talked to my grandma about it
Fasting
and
and
everything.
praying.
I asked her, I was like, Lord, please let Chauncey be able to play edge.
Yeah.
The times I've spoken to
Yeah.
Chauncey in the locker room, he's an edge. He was drafted to be an edge, and to finally, I was hoping Zimmer would move him back to his correct position. He did, and we got to see him have the best season of his career, 5.5 sacks on the year. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
Very proud.
I'm gonna say over because honestly, he was a name that wasn't expected to do much, right? And he made a name for himself in the NFL to where when the opposing offense is talking about you in their press conferences and their OCs are naming you just point blank, you have made yourself a name, and he literally did that. So I wasn't expecting him to have as great of a season as he did, but we also didn't expect all the injuries. We didn't expect the season to be what it was.
Yeah.
But overall, we also, to your point, didn't know where exactly he would be playing because we didn't know how Zim would want to utilize him. So I really didn't have much expectations for the defense overall, other than Micah. But I'm glad Chauncey made a name for himself. So he has a lot of good stuff.
He about to make some monies.
Absolutely.
He's about to make us
whether
some
it's here or
monies.
whether it's somewhere else.
Go make your money.
I know.
Go make your money, Chauncey. Go make
Absolutely.
your money wherever it is, here or there. Hopefully here, not there.
Hopefully here. All right, well, we got to go. This has been fun. Like always, for Aisha Morrison, Jess Tavares, Nicole Hutchison, we'll be back here next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!